We all go through this journey called life, but perhaps life is not a journey and more so an obstacle course that we are shoved through, whether we are overcoming the obstacles in the course or we are tripping and falling over them. As we go through this course, we have fire at our feet and a pitchfork in our backs. We are either praised for accomplishing the course at their pace, or we are punished and looked down upon for not keeping up. So is this life a journey, as they say, or are we just struggling to keep up? As I have been pushed and shoved along with others, I have had sweat on my brow and fire at my feet. I see others way ahead of me, maybe just a few, but many behind me are falling over the obstacles. Do they get an F for that, and those ahead get an A for that? As the pushing and shoving continues, we are going at such a fast rate that I cannot remember the previous obstacle. In a while, I'll go over an obstacle from the past and be expected to retain my memory of it. If I do not remember it and successfully overcome it, I will fail, and I might not be able to get into the college I want to. Throughout our educational obstacle course, a standard is applied to us all. We must be able to learn all the same things at the same rate and at the same time as everyone else. If we are not able to keep up, we then receive bad grades and are subject to punishment and harsh judgment from staff and peers, and that is not limited to being labeled special needs, or worse. We are declared unable and are moved back a grade. On top of this notion, we are expected to have an idea of what job we want to have after our education at a very young age. We are taught to not choose with our passions, but choose according to pay and how much college we would like to go through. All of these struggles put together add up to a very unhappy, rushed person with little to no passion or drive. I want to seek what it is to follow those passions and the inner happiness that we are all capable of having. The passions I have are with horses and with helping others. These passions, by definition, are strong and barely controllable emotions that I often think about and wonder what life would be like if I could help others for a living while enjoying my horses too. I want to expose the idea that we humans do not need to follow a standard. We do not need to live life this way, jumping over obstacles and being beat over the head with a standard. The problem humanity faces is that we need passion to drive us on, to spur us to new discoveries, which will enable an increasing world population to survive on Earth. We also need culture as a vehicle of expression, and as a means to temper, to regulate our passions and to refine their expression, says Runty. In the movie Flicka, the main character Katie is forced into a private school where she is not thriving, she is unhappy, and all she can focus on is her dream of owning her father's Wyoming ranch. Katie does not finish a writing assignment, which then becomes the turn point to the realization of her and her parents that she should follow her dreams, not her parents' or society's oppressive goals. The movie Flicka is a great example of how a person's journey to overcoming the oppression humanity faces to not be ourselves, to pursue our dreams. Katie writes in her essay, "I think everyone writes a story in their head that eventually becomes their life. If you don't write it for yourself, then someone else is going to write it for you." When she does follow her passions with horses, she made a statement regarding the previous oppression. "Because when we're riding, all I feel is free." Katie goes against both her schooling and her father to dedicate herself to her horses, as well as pronouncing that she does not want the educational route, but she wants to be a rancher, the same as her father. I can relate to this because I too was pushed into the educational route. I was told that college was the only way, and that if I didn't go, I wouldn't survive. I started out in a program that I did not like, and I was unhappy. I was surviving, but not thriving. I then realized that life does not have to be this way, and who is to tell us how we should handle life? According to Kodron, the trick is to keep exploring and not bail out, even when we find out that something is not what we thought. So with that notion, I plunged forward, and I found out what actually makes me happy. Overcoming this type of oppression is hard and needs to be handled head-on. The solution is not to integrate them into the structure of oppression, but to transform that structure so that they can become beings for themselves, says Freire. It is hard to break away from oppression, let's face it, but it has to be done. In order to be happy, we know that we must be able to use our passions to fuel us. If we are told to not follow those in order to become more successful and more educated, we are not thriving. Any situation which A objectively exploits B or hinders his and her pursuit of self-affirmation as a responsible person is one of oppression, says Freire. According to Runty, the solution to educational oppression is merely to use our own internalization to make the right choices. It is frequently said that education is the key to changing the world. to creating a culture of peace. Education can simply reinforce the values of a single group, or it can contribute to changing those values. Education could focus on the common experiences, the values, pains, pleasures, and words of all cultures. Education, I believe, is nothing if the educational path we pursue does not go hand in hand with our passions. It should be the task of intellectuals in this world of increasing internalization to discover these links, says Runte. If we do not use self-internalization to find our passions, we continue the standardized route that we started, and we can never break free of it after high school. Education does not have to hinder us or make us feel oppressed or change us. As a society, we must be able to use our own intellectual minds to discover what it is that drives us and to zero in on it. We must then take that and plunge forward. If we do not know what it is, we must strive to find it. If we don't, someone else will do it for us, pushing us into that standardized education which focuses on money and success. The solution to the oppression is to break free. And when we break free of that, we must then start a journey of self-internalization to discover who we are, what we love, how we thrive, and what motivates us. From my experience firsthand with educational oppression, I know it's never easy. From kindergarten through 12th grade, we go through the standardized route in which we have no say. I have learned that after high school, we can continue the ways the oppressor has encrypted into us, which encourages on us having money-oriented goals, as well as going to college and getting a degree in a popular program. I've also learned that I can take a different route, which includes focusing on my passions and what makes me thrive, and pursue that instead. But most importantly, with all types of oppression and struggles, each day we're given many opportunities to open up or shut down, says Kodron. It really is up to us, whether we want to go with the flow or we want to liberate and be happy. So choose wisely.